I'm so happy you're here. My name is Tara Healey, and I'm the founder and director of the mindfulness program of Point 32 Health. Point 32 Health being a combination of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And this is our Thursday morning gathering. And if you have not yet opened the chat, please go ahead and do that. Make sure you go to the drop-down menu and select everyone if that's not already selected. The practice, if anybody is joining for the first time, the practice is about 12 minutes in length, sometimes a little bit more, a little bit less, but right around there. And we save time at the end for Q&A and also just sharing of resources. So if you have a book or a podcast or an app that you really like that really supports your practice, then there's an opportunity to share that in the chat. And you'll also see that I put the point32health.org/livingwell site in the chat. And I'll say this now, and I'll also just as a reminder at the end, but on Tuesdays this month, we are hosting Jess Morey. Jess is a wonderful meditation teacher, and the first 3 Tuesdays of the month, John Roberts has a conversation with Jess. And then normally the last Tuesday of the month, I would interview a neuroscientist. Last month it was Judd Brewer. We've switched that to Wednesdays. So next week on Wednesday, Dr. Amishi Jha will be our guest, and I will be interviewing her. We've done a lot of work with her in the past. The 12 minutes that our practices are based on are from her research. So if you haven't seen her through other things that we've done in collaboration, this would be a good one to tune into. So it's next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, but that's all right. You can find all the details in that, in the website that is in the chat. So let's go ahead and move right into practice. So you want to situate yourself in a way that is comfortable, easeful to the degree that you can this morning, and you can do this in a couple postures. You could be standing, you could do this seated, you could do lying down posture. You can even do this as a walking practice, just walking in a short lane back and forth. That's also, a perfectly fine posture. So wherever you are, go ahead and settle in, and your eyes can be open or closed. If you're standing or walking, it's for balance. It's better to have the eyes open. But otherwise, closed or open, if they're open and you're seated or standing, even gaze downward a little bit and take a couple deep breaths just to allow yourself to arrive and to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. Deep inhalation through the nose, longer exhalation through the mouth, and at your own pace. And we'll begin by letting go of all that has happened so far this morning and releasing anticipation of what is next. And just allow the mind and the body to come together in this moment. Nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Settling into the body and noticing how things are this morning. So as you scan the body from head to toe, just notice areas of holding, seeing if you can soften, but again, really nothing to do but be aware of. And if there is an area that you feel like you can release, just go ahead and release. But otherwise, receiving, pulsing, vibration, temperature, kind of like you're a scientist, but you are the subject as well, with an attitude of receptivity and allowance, whether it feels good or not so good, or maybe neutral. It's all included. It's all allowed. Allow is a word that I often use. We don't have to necessarily like it. And part of what we notice in this practice, and this is really foundational, is the ever-changing nature of every thought, every emotion, every body sensation. And these things arise, they do their thing, and they move on. So we're just checking in this morning, sometimes helpful even when you first wake up and open your eyes, just to bring attention to the whole body, noticing what's going on, aware of the rhythm of your breath. And also cultivating a lens of kindness and compassion, gratitude for the body. And for a moment, let's expand awareness to include sound. So, sound that may be in the room or perhaps outside of the room, and just hearing. We don't even have to label what's making it, but just engaging that sense, hearing. And allowing sounds to just come and go as they naturally will in your background. Begin to bring awareness back inward for the body. And let's find an anchor for the wandering mind. So knowing that thoughts are just going to kind of come and go without any invitation on your part. This is just the nature of the mind. And we're learning about our mental habit patterns by seeing what arises. And we're just simply, when we're formally practicing, noticing when a thought has slipped in is a really significant moment because you're no longer lost. You're awake and aware and you know what's going on. So this is a good thing. So a thought slips in uninvited, you notice, thinking, just soft mental note. You can be more specific, but I find thinking to be helpful. But certainly planning mind or worried mind is fine. And then allow your body to soften. There's almost always a little bit of a subtle contraction when the mind is chomping away on something and we're not aware of it. And as soon as we become aware, it's like a metacognition, a meta-awareness. We're aware that we're aware. We label thinking, soften the body, and return to an anchor. So let's look at what could we use as an anchor. Breath sensation, anywhere in the body that it's easiest for you to track the sensations of the inhalation and the exhalation. Could be belly, abdomen, even nostrils. You can make it a wide angle lens, even the carriage of the body, the movement, the feeling could be what your anchor is, feeling the sensations of the inhalation and the exhalation. You can also use sound. So you could just open awareness, receiving sound. And each time a thought comes in uninvited and you notice it, thinking, soften, return to sound or breath. You could take the palms of your hands and rest them on the top of your thighs as a third alternative, and the points of contact of hands against thighs. So go ahead and see what might work for you this morning. And noticing where your mind is. And gently releasing the narrative or the planning or the worry or the anticipation. Just releasing, softening the body and returning. As we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever good comes of our practice be of benefit to all beings. So taking a moment, if the eyes were closed, to go ahead and open the eyes and just reorient the space you're in, maybe do a little bit of a stretch. And so we have an opportunity to share, ask questions. But one of the things that I wanted to say this morning is with so many challenges going on in the world, that this practice really matters. And at the end, where I say, really may our practice be of benefit to all beings. And so that to just always keep in mind that this matters, that what we're doing is looking at our mental habit patterns so that we can go take our practice sort of off the cushion, as they say, and take it out into the world. And that so we are aligning with our deepest values more regularly, that we're as we drive, we're more generous, as we engage with people in all aspects of our life, that we um, are generous in those engagements, that we are kind, and that we recognize that each of us, um, we are influenced in different ways by our growing up, our patterns, and our habits, and we never know what's going on in someone else's life or what their life has been like. And so the practice really helps us hold that sense of compassion for humankind. And so I think with the challenges that are going on now, it can feel a bit helpless. But to know it matters. Yeah. So, Bina, if you come to practice already feeling sad or afraid, what do you focus on? I mean, I know practice isn't right, exactly. So, Bina, I feel like in some ways that, you have even answered that if you're feeling afraid and sad, as counterintuitive as this sounds, it's really about allowing whatever is there and coming out of the narrative about it and like feeling it in the body, feeling where the sadness or the fear manifests, it shows up in your body. So, my teachers over many years have talked about this, that because it can feel like, am I exacerbating that particular feeling of fear? But if we resist it, it persists. So the idea with every thought, emotion, and body sensation is, it's like Rumi's poem, The Guest House. Welcome them, entertain, receive, allow. Nothing really else to do, and this is not, this is not easy. Dan Harris recently, I mean, this is related, but he's been having like bouts again of like claustrophobia, and so he kind of has a fear of being in a plane and an elevator. So he did, I don't know if anybody saw this, but he wrote about a short flight from, I think, New York to DC and back, and how afraid he was. I mean, this is partly working with his therapist to work with this fear, but the ability of him to be like, not push it away or resist it, but to actually kind of turn toward it was helpful. Now, I think there are times where the fear or some might be too overwhelming, and I'm all for just distract yourself from it, but I wouldn't say that that's the normal way to deal with it. So, the other thing, whoops, hold on. I closed my tab for a second. In addition to taking action, if politically, making phone calls, whatever, in whatever way you're inspired to do that, and that is also something that can help us work with some of the uncertainty. The other thing that I love is there's a book called The Book of Delights by Ross Gay. I don't know if anybody has read that or knows of his work, but he kind of tasked himself with finding one thing every day that just delighted him. And then he put it into a book of delights, which is really, really wonderful. So I also just like that as a practice. So, I mean, I know some people do gratitude practices. There is something about that stuck with me. So again, like also doing things that support your mental health, that help you feel better, whether that's being out in nature, exercising, but yeah, like just even recording. I've been thinking a lot about that book. I read it a while ago, but I've been thinking a lot about that book lately, and just wanting to start to keep my own list of daily delights, because there are there are many things that I feel awe-inspired by during the day, and I have not been recording them, but I think there's something to that. So other thoughts, or if anybody jumped on and didn't hear me mention the website, point32health.org /living well, that will direct you to really all of our programs, but you can go to mindfulness specifically and see Jess Morey on Tuesdays. Jess is awesome. She has been a friend of our program and a friend of mine and John's for a long, long time. And she's just great. And she and John have a good rapport. So John Roberts interviews her. You can go back and watch the one that happened this week. I don't think it's up yet, but that's on our YouTube channel. But the next remainder of the Tuesdays, or 2 more Tuesdays. And then next week, I will interview Dr. Amishi Jha, and that's what we base our 12-minute practice on. Amishi is a neuroscientist, also a friend of our program. We've done a lot of work with her over the years. And so we've changed those from the last Tuesday of the month to Wednesdays for the remainder of the year. So that'll be next Wednesday, 1 o'clock, but that is right there also in that link. So we still have a couple minutes, a few minutes. Anybody, what questions do you have about your practice, or anything that you've been listening to lately that you want to share that you've enjoyed? So one thing I will tell you I enjoy is Maya Bialik's podcast. I think it's called The Breakdown, but Mayim Bialik's The Breakdown. I'm pretty sure that's it. She's always got a lot of really, really interesting guests. I think she's had Judd Brewer on. So she's somebody that I would definitely recommend. Are there still going to be sessions Tuesday? Yes. So Jamie, Tuesdays at noon, that's the Jess Morey session. So check that out in the website. I'm pretty sure that they kept those, but the neuroscientist ones are the only ones that they changed. So, oh, Elaine, yeah. So The Breakdown, isn't that such a good podcast? I think it's my favorite right now. Really, really good. She's super smart. She is a neuroscientist, and she brings on a lot of scientists and has topics that are very far ranging. So highly, highly recommend The Breakdown. She was on a popular show, and I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody in here knows. I think she was on 2 popular shows, like as an actress. Big Bang, yes, yes. And one other, right? I think one other. Andrew Huberman has a good one too. Oh, good. Blossom, Heather. Yep, Blossom. Andrew Huberman. Okay, I'm gonna add that right now to my list. Anybody else? And even questions about your practice too. A lot I mentioned this yesterday if anybody was on, but it has seemed that a lot lately people have been talking about the busyness of the mind. And, I just want everybody to know, like, I don't have this mastered. My mind is busy. I think what's happened for me over the years is that I'm relating differently to the thinking mind, but over time, and especially if you're doing like longer retreat practice, there just naturally is more of a settling. But just to know the thinking mind and being A busyness is okay. Ian, you're welcome. Yeah, I am so delighted that we continued this program, going back to 2020 when the pandemic started, and then have connected in with these really fabulous thought leaders and neuroscientists. And, I think one of the things that I deeply appreciate is that our program we are well respected, that we have hired and worked with folks, all of our per diem teachers and the people that we connect with, the thought leaders and neuroscientists, are all really reputable. They are people that have done a lot of research in the field, and so it's just a joy to work with our per diems and really all of the people that have joined our program, and then to have this community continue. Really grateful to all of you. Love the idea of finding, yes, yeah. And Charlene, the Ross Gay book, I cannot recommend that enough. He's got a couple. Jamie, completely off topic. It's okay. In these trying times, I've been listening to the Love Letters podcast. Oh, wonderful. Love Letters podcast. Okay, I don't know about that. And Teresa, thank you. Thank you. I'm really, again, grateful to this community, for all of you for showing up for so many years, and to all of our teachers that work with us. I'm going to add Love Letters podcast. Yeah. Well, so I've gotten a couple of ideas. Thank you. And we've got about 2 minutes. So echoing Ian's question above. Let me see. Ian, was there a question in there? I don't know why I cannot, hold on. Is there, oh, I see, I missed that. Is there a practice type that may specifically be good for forgetfulness? Oh gosh, I don't know, but what I would say is that definitely tune into Amishi next Wednesday, because she will talk a bit about memory. And I think I put together some questions for her yesterday that she's reviewing, but she is an attention researcher. And so we know that when our attention is sharp on something, we tend to remember it. And so she would be a really good one to tune into, and even think of your questions around memory. But I know if you think about big events, like if I think about the Challenger disaster, I know exactly where I was when that happened. And so there is something with memory and attending, connection, knowing where you were during big events, that those things stick in your head. But things like being introduced to somebody and forgetting their name right away, I think that strengthening attentional capacity strengthens memory. I mean, they go like hand in hand. Yeah. So I hope that helps. I think that's a really good topic to explore. But I would say that it is when our attentional capacity is more honed, we tend to remember Like if we're being introduced to somebody, because I think most of us forget names pretty quickly. But if prior to attending like an event where you're going to meet people, you make a very conscious effort to connect around names, I think, again, that's your attending, bringing your attentional capacity forward. That is going to make a difference. Oh, we're at 9:02. Okay. All right, everybody. Okay, one more, Charlene, check out dailyhaikuforyou.com for daily inspirations. Great. All right, I'm going to add that one too. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Great to be with you. And yeah, happy 4th, safe celebrating. And I will see you next week. All right. Bye, everybody.